William Ross.
Here.
Mark Ruby.
Here.
Brian Mahoney.
Here.
Andy McCaffrey.
Here.
David Massey.
Here.
William Beckety.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Introduction of guests, Jeremy, you want to start?
Jeremy Hertz, agency staff.
Mike Dudley, agency staff.
Carrie Purcell, agency staff.
Andrew Classic, agency staff.
Mark Gabriel, agency counsel.
Sue Barone, agency staff.
Jonathan Epstein, Buffalo News.
Rob Green and Niagara Gazette.
John Simons, Stevati Aerospace.
Bob Sugarman, Stevati Aerospace.
Bill Morbeal, Niagara County Community College.
Thank you. Can you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? Jeremy?
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
5.0, approval of the meeting minutes from November 8th. Mr. Ross?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need a motion for the approval of the meeting minutes of November 8th, 2023. I'm looking for a motion. I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? I have a second. Is there any additions or deletions to the minutes of November 8th, 2023? Additions or deletions? Therefore, I see none. I'm looking for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Chairman? 100%.
6.0, finance and audit committee reports. Mr. Temple?
Earlier this morning, the Finance and Audit Committee reviewed the financial reports, check register, payables, etc., and found them to be in order.
Any questions? Any motion?
I will move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You guys are all in, President? You do both?
Yes, I'm sorry, we didn't take that one. That's it.
All right, 7.0, the Shaydale Electronics, Ms. Fonda?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We held a public hearing here at our building on November 28th at 2 p.m. Nobody spoke at the hearing. There was nobody in attendance. There has been a change to the project, and agency counsel can speak to that.
Thank you. Yeah, the project itself is remaining the same. They have notified, company counsel and plan manager have notified me last night that the items, equipment, are all going to be production equipment and not subject to sales tax, so that we are not going to be providing them a sales tax exemption benefit on this. The only benefit would be the standard 15-year pilot. No mortgage tax, they didn't ask for that in their application. We would not be providing the sales tax exemption in this project as well. So the only thing would be the 15-year standard pilot. We do potentially anticipate an additional project from this company within the year for an additional 20,000 square foot building. So let's keep our fingers crossed that that comes to fruition from our friends in Belgium.
Any questions? Any motion?
So moved.
Mr. Ross? Second. Mr. Secretary? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I need a roll call vote.
Mr. Ross.
Yes.
Mr. Temple. Mr. Scott.
Yes.
Mr. Berube.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Ms. McCaffrey.
Yes.
Mr. Massey.
Yes.
Mr. Beckety.
Yes.
Mr. Omesi.
Okay, 7.2, Stevati Aerospace, Mr. Gabriel.
Oh, thank you. Stevati Aerospace is a project that came before this board some time ago. The project closed in February of 2021. Stevati's existing sales tax exemption benefit expires at the end of December of this year. You've been provided with a copy of the request from the company along with the annual annual forms that have been, filed by the company as well as the original application. So I assume there'll be some questions. We have two representatives from the Stavati Aerospace Limited company here to ask any questions that you might have regarding their request.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
No.
No, Jason, you first.
Yes, sir.
You're vice chair.
Can you guys speak to the new revised timeline for this project? I guess if we put a timeline on these projects kind of for a reason. The anticipation was that we're gonna have north of 350 additional jobs. My understanding is that the progress has been limited. I know that the usage on the sales tax has been, or the usage on the sales tax has been pretty limited. Can you just speak to the revised timeline and kind of give us some updates of the updates on the project in general?
Thank you, especially for the last count doing the updates. First of all, I apologize that Chris Bascar, Chairman, President, CEO, and Founder, was not able to attend this meeting with short notice. He is in Washington, D.C., meeting with Department of Defense officials as well as people at the very highest level in our government today. With me today is Dr. Sugarman, who is our Chief Scientist, President Bill Morabito of NCCC, who Stavati has a very active role with today, and I'm serving as the President of Stavati Niagara, our local regional operation here in Western New York. As to the initial status of why the delay, as the letter that Chris Bascar sent Executive Director Langdon, a lot of things impacted our inability to move forward as rapidly as we hoped to. I'm very familiar with the timeline based on my experience here at the NCIDA and the Great State Development prior to the war in Ukraine impacted us dramatically. I've been there. It's devastating. People really don't know what's going on as far as the amount of death and destruction of communities in the Ukraine and buildings that we met with certain officials there. They've been destroyed. We have a very active company working with American Department of Defense organizations, the Navy, Air Force, etc., and the Army. We brought on board an admiral on our board of directors, as well as a general from the U.S. Army. But when you combine the war in Ukraine and the pandemic, and now the Israeli war, it has slowed Washington down dramatically in the approval process of certain things. We have, and I would be more than happy to go into much more detail in some type of a confidential executive session because of the classified nature of our particular business. But the process for our approvals to export and to market to certain countries outside the United States has been severely slowed down because initially of the war in Ukraine. And unfortunately, we've slowed down dramatically at our site. We've begun, as I think you know, based on the reports that we've sent in annually, we've begun the demolition and renovation of the former U.S. Army Reserve Center on Porter Avenue, for which we're looking for the tax exemptions. If I were to guess, based both on what's currently going on and our relationship building with the Department of Defense, that we should start active manufacturing of prototype, hopefully early this coming year, 2024. In light of that, we did approach the New York Power Authority, and they've given us an extension on our ability to access the low-cost power that we applied for and were approved for also. So we're very appreciative of NIPA in that particular approval process that they've done. We're approaching the NCIDA because we've been slowed down because of all of those different worldwide or global events, and we still intend exactly on approaching our activities in Niagara County the way that we initially submitted our paperwork to you the other day. I will say this also, that we've been fortunate based on our background, our directors, and our employees that are outside of the area, our board of directors, et cetera. We have been approached to produce other things that are within the realm of defense. And we're also actively looking for those locations. Most of that will be done here at what we refer to as SNAPR, Savati Niagara Aerospace Prototype Production Engineering and Research. So we call it SNAPR. It's much easier to do it that way. And our motor was sold to the Snapping Turtle. But aside from that, we're very excited about what we're doing. We have, again, it's all privately funded thus far. We're proud of that too. And we're seeking our tax exemption extension for ideally another 2 years.
So where's the staff on this? Is there a recommendation for staff to approve the extension or not?
I'm defer to the board discussion at this point. We're hearing the same thing. You want to talk to staff to the project?
I have a question. John, I pass here almost every day at 7400 Porter Road. 9400 Porter Road. Just for some people, it's the old Naval Air Station that emulates from the Second World War. It's changed into the USAR Center during the 50s, into the 60s, into the 70s, and even into the 80s. They built a new USAR Center on the airport side with the 914th and the National Guard Air Base over there. So it's been here a long time, a good building, but it's still a building 80, 90 years old when they first built it, when the Naval Air Station's in there.
The fuses in the substation are 1929 fuses.
So it really goes back.
Yes.
The building. What I was concerned about, not concerned about, but would like to know some information about, have you made changes inside? Because it was a building that was good when we were there in the 50s and 60s and 70s for the mission that we had. But what changes? I think you need some renovations inside, remediations and things like that. I was just kind of curious.
Yes, we've already spent several $1 million in infrastructure-related products inside the facility. There were 10 buildings. There are now 7 buildings. Right now, the substation is one of our primary concerns. We're working with National Grid and our electrical companies, service companies, to initially repair and then replace that whole substation that's in there. That's going to be a major cost for us. The repair is significant, but the new substation will cost the first year $1 million, and the next 2 subsequent years will be approximately $500,000 each year to upgrade that into our capacity. Inside the hangar, which is one of the oldest buildings there, and it is the largest hangar at the airport, the Niagara Falls International Airport, we have totally rewired the east doors and renovated them. We had to take all the insulation off and put new insulation in there. And then the west doors, there's 2 sets of doors. The west doors, we've done about half of that before we basically ran out of money. We owe money, I'm going to be honest with you. I think we owe money to people, and we intend on paying that money. But we look to the future. It looks promising. The 350 jobs that you mentioned are really a minor achievable number in a very rapid fashion. The numbers will go significantly higher after that. But so far the IBEW has been wonderful. The electrical union and CCC has been great. We work with NCCC and the City of Niagara Falls school system to address one of our major issues. Where do we get our employees? Where do we get our employees when we start in beginning production of both prototypes as well as major production of aircraft? So we were fortunate to work with NCCC in a collaborative effort. Dr. Reviti, would you like to make a comment on that?
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things. When John and his group brought the project, it kind of changed the vision of the college, because we took a critical look at our programming and the needs of the community, even beyond Stavati. And the college itself is very strong in the healthcare area, transfer area and such, but we lagged in the technology development. and machine shop and such. So as a result of that, John stepped forward in this tech prep program with the Niagara Falls School District. We weren't able to field a program before because there was not an industry who came forward. And Mark Laurie came forward with the school district. That program now is, I would say, the best one in the state. It's a model of the state. So now we've added a second and a third one in Niagara County. This is making a big difference for the youth of the county where they're entering these programs and they go right into the job market or out of college and then into the job market. The need for machinists, need for welders, next month, because of this whole critical look, we're opening a new welding facility. We have a $5 million investment in building a welding facility on the campus. We've taken corridors of the campus and made it into technology wings for more machine shops, more welding and such. And we're very excited. A lot of it stemmed from us taking a critical look because an employer came and said, here's our vision. It just resonated well. We're also looking at an aviation program. We're about ready to sign an agreement with an aviation program to do pilot training. And the phase 2 would be airplane mechanics. Both areas, critical shortage of workers. So I'm speaking in support of Stavati. I know it's lagged, but if it hits, it's going to be big.
Yeah, just like me one other time, first of all, the collaboration between the city and NCCIDA has been wonderful. And the staff of both the city school system and NCCIDA has been wonderful looking at our future needs. Very important. But I would like to emphasize one thing that President Rubino had stated. It was his opinion that it was the best in the state. I've attended the New York State Education Department reviews of the program statewide, and they have stated it's the best program in New York State. So that's not just your opinion. It was the State Education Department's opinion too.
Well, there's a secondary.
So realistically, from your total construction budget, how much have you guys, I guess first question is, how much have you guys spent to date, or how far along is the project completed? And do you have financing in place for like the remainder of the project at this point? Do you have funding?
Not firmly in place, I would say, but in the process of being in place. So we have not only 2 finance houses, but we have commitments for investment, not loans, towards what we need initially for, I'd say, the first year or so. We're in an industry that really, when you build a prototype or you build production of aircraft, we're talking about billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. That is why our chairperson, Chris Vestar, is in Washington as I speak today, building those relationships that can generate those types of funds down the road. We've spent a couple $1 million thus far. Our initial number to the IDA in our application is under $30 million. I suspect that as we peel away the onion, if you will, and we look at our costs are going to be more because the costs were envisioned 3-4 years ago when we applied, and those costs tend to go up.
So using based on a $30 million number, how much funding do you guys have in place out of that $30 million?
We've already spent a couple $1 million there, and we, like I said, we're indicating that we'll have investment, I'd say within the next couple of months.
For the full $30 million?
That would
Right
be
there.
wonderful. That would be wonderful, but it will be a significant amount of that if it is. But it is not. Is that clear? Did I answer your question?
It sounds like you guys. It sounds like you guys are working towards a position where you guys will have funding in place.
That is correct.
Okay. And are you comfortable getting specific as to what that is? Is that Department of Defense money? Is that
would be proprietary, and I'd have to do an executive session because of a lot of different classified information too.
Okay.
This project is supposed to end, what, February of 2024?
Yeah, let me, if I could, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just, there's 2 ways I believe the board, there's 2 bits of information I think the board needs to have when discussing and going through where we are and what is taking place. and what the company's responsibilities were and obligations were to this time. And then, obviously, what they're asking for now and their desire for the future and their plan and request to you. So, this project came in, a number of years ago. It actually, closed in February of '21. As part of our agreements, the project has to be completed and have the employment numbers and investment numbers by the end of 3 years, which is this coming February, which might be close to what Mr. Simon is talking about in the spring. But at that time, they're obligated to have spent just under $26 million on this project, as well as to employ over, I think it's 368 new employees at the facility. Right now, the sales tax exemption benefit for this project is ending on December 31st, 2023. They're asking today, we're not talking about the potential for terminating the project today because they still have until the end of February to complete their project before we could ever do that review. But they are asking for a sales tax exemption benefit to run going forward right now. As shown in your package of what their filings, their benefits that they've utilized so far for sales tax, so far this year has been minimal. I think the benefit is it's under $2,000 through the end of '22. We have not gotten their '23 forms yet. They're not due yet. And there are no full-time employees at this time employed by there. I believe there are some outside subtenants that the company it appears that the company is utilizing. It seems to be used at times for a storage area for outside recreation vehicles or other boats. I can certainly ask, Mr. Simon would know more about that. So that's where we are today on where the agreement is. Now the board has to decide based on the request of the company, Mr. Simon, and moving forward with this project, whether or not, first of all, whether or not you would like to provide them with the ability to move forward with a sales tax exemption extension for the remaining, for the 1 year period and/or until the project is terminated, or you don't. This is premature for discussing whether or not the project, making a determination of whether to extend this project dates out for this company. That would be sometime in February, March. So is there any questions on that? I think that covers at least the facts that we have to date that are hard facts.
It doesn't seem to me that you're ready to actually close this out by February and have the jobs and all that. Would it be better to pull this project and come back to the board when you're ready to actually meet all the objectives that you set forth?
Well, my first comment in addressing your question would be that we are going to be doing fairly quickly, before February or March, the renovation of our substation. It's a lot of money. And there would be sales tax exemption eligibility on a number of those particular activities.
And how many jobs will you have filled by that?
Well, at that particular time, I couldn't tell you, but I'm hoping, or at least within the next couple of months, I'd say a very minimal number, and that would be less than 10. And then moving forwards, as we develop the prototypes and the engineering people, we're talking about a very, very rapid onboarding of personnel, which scares the heck out of me. And we have a large company in the region that's going to be helping us with onboarding our personnel based on job descriptions that we've given. That is clearly why we are collaborating with NCCC and Niagara Falls, so we can hire locally, those particular sites as the students graduate from that particular program during the next 2 years. But initially, as we stated, the ramp up's going to be slow, but then it's going to be very rapid. And whether or not we have 350 people by March, April, May, I would highly doubt that. I would say possibly by the end of 2024, we could have that many people. But still, that's very, very aggressive. That would be very aggressive, realistically. So it depends on a number of other activities that we have going on here. and another opportunity that we're looking to Niagara, County for also, that I can't disclose at this point.
Tom, would it be a benefit to you and your company if we had the opportunity to walk through the project?
I'd love
Because
to.
we walked through other projects, I don't know, Mr. Chairman, maybe some would be interested. It's a lot of history right there, and a lot of you know the history because you lived in this area all your life, and they might see the concept.
I would love for you folks to come over, I really would, it's a significant part
Just-
of.
Just being in
yeah.
my hangar alone
Sure.
is one of the largest hangars in western New York.
Any other
That's
questions?
something that you could contemplate.
Any other questions?
I don't believe that I have any additional questions at this point.
Just for the resolution purposes, the board's options are, because of the timing of the project completion date, would be yes to grant them a 1-year extension, no to not grant them a 1-year extension, or to grant them somewhere in between an extension through the end of March, which is the date where they're likely their project, Mr. Simon's saying that most of that work will be completed by. So that's certainly up to the board's discretion and for discussion on how and what the motion will look like.
Any questions?
I mean, at this point, I completely understand that projects get delayed. Things happen all over the place. I would definitely like to get my eyes or get my arms around progress that's been made to date, kind of what we're talking about. I don't wanna speak for everybody else, but my personal opinion is that we take 30 days, we schedule something between now and our January meeting. I mean, it's reasonable to table this for 30 days, I think. I think we can, if we know if we have a little better handle on everything, we can put something, we can talk about this at our, I believe it's January 10th, is our next meeting, and still get the extension in place in time, or.
If I could, that's the issue. The extension, or their present benefit ends December 31st.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was.
No, December 31st, so that would leave a gap and an issue.
So,
It was a good thought, though.
if this, resolution does not move forward, what's your cost in what the chair said relative to coming back and asking for those, the sales tax exemptions, essentially after February?
Sure, if our board, our society board of directors, desires and agrees to, we would come back in the future, for some type of extension. However, we'd have to look at, what our costs are gonna be during the next month, this month, through the extension of this month. We desperately, and being very candid, we have to repair and replace that substation. That's, as you know, the heart of the facility. And we have tenants, to Mark's comments about the, people that are occupying. We not only have our offices there, but we have 4 tenants in there right now. There's no recreational vehicles, there's several, retail, not retail, but construction businesses, things like that. And, they use the electricity too. So we need to address our substation immediately. We need to address other things, including everything from gas lines to water sewer lines, et cetera. Our infrastructure needs work, as Bill Ross has stated, the age of the facility shows. And the bones are great, but the infrastructure is not. So,
Would it be reasonable to do a 90-day extension of the sale, of the
Exactly what I was thinking.
sales tax abatement until such
Right.
times, we gotta get through the holidays, obviously everybody's schedule gets kinda quirky through, call it the first week of January, schedule something and then bring this back. But I think, if there is project being made, if there is a viability of the funding to come in, I understand delays happen all the time. I think a 90-day extension makes sense if we can come out and take a look, kinda get our eyes on and get our arms around what the scope of the project is, we'll be better and able to make an educated decision.
So the motion would be from the end of March 31st?
Right, I would support that.
That lines it up with the other piece. It does.
Right, then we'll have more information.
And just to remind the board, built into our project documents is the company has already, agreed to, as part of them, that if for some reason the project doesn't go forward and they've, taken advantage of sales tax benefits for a project that didn't, there's such a provision called the clawback. And we would have the ability on behalf of the state and county to go in and to claw back all benefits received for sales tax by the company.
But at this
If you
point,
don't go
it's,
forward. It's premature by far.
I mean, and that dollar amount is very limited, as I understand that, so.
May I just raise one question on whatever that extension may be? Let's say that it is the shorter one of 6 months. Will we be allowed, because putting all that infrastructure in 6 months is unrealistic from my point of view, will we be able to come back to the board and seek the longer extension that we're asking for today?
I mean, and.
Well, I'll be honest,
Well, go ahead.
I expect the company either to, ask for that the project be terminated and walk away and come back at a later time in February when their job numbers do not match up as already described by Mr. Simon, or to ask and come before this board in February asking that we allow them an extension of time to complete their project. Either way, before that March 31st exemption expires, they would have to be before this board for the bigger project, is whether or not we terminate this project in March or February.
So
So
then-
that, they're gonna have to ask for that extension of that time to create those jobs.
So then I guess my recommendation would be, let's make the two exemptions, or the two approval be coterminous at, I believe it's February 28th?
The end of February, by the time we're talking cure, let's do it for March. And
Okay.
give it through end of March.
So we'll
that'd be
make
easy.
that, so that should give us effectively, if it's the end of March, that'll give us more than 120, more than 90 days, I'm sorry, give us roughly 100 days to be able to come out, get our arms around where you guys are at.
Schedule a walkthrough.
Schedule a walkthrough, exactly. And then should something, if things develop over the next, several weeks, you're not hamstrung by lack of a single tax exemption. Correct.
I understand that.
You have a motion?
So I will move that. If I,
For the 90 days.
Yeah.
Do I have a second? Mr. Campbell? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We need a roll call vote.
Mr. Ross?
Aye.
Mr. Krempa?
yeah.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barubi?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. McCaffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Fekete?
Yes.
Mr. Wondersen?
Thank you. New business, 160 Washburn Street, David.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. If you recall, there is an existing project called 210 Walnut Street that has been going on for some time. It's a large parcel in the city of Lockport. All payments and job requirements have been met on this project. However, there is one large vacant building in parcel attached to the 210 Walnut Street project that the corporation, which is, I believe, owned and run by the GLDC, is now selling to a private developer for some sort of development that I'm not aware of at this time. However, nevertheless, they are asking for a partial release of the parcels. There are a specific parcel which is not, as I mentioned, is vacant at this time. It will not affect their job requirement numbers in any way, shape, or form, or their investment numbers in the parcel. So basically what they're asking us to do is to take the existing pilot, a mortgage, the lease and lease back, and amend those documents to reflect a new legal description, and amend the pilot so it only affects the existing ones. So we've done these, I think we actually did one not too long ago. So that's what we're doing.
Any questions? Comments? Any motion?
So moved.
Mr. Fekete and Mr. Ross? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I need a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Krempa?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Barubi?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Ms. McCaffrey?
Yes.
Mr. Massey?
Yes.
Mr. Buckaty?
Yes.
Mr. O'Meara?
Yes. 11, we went from 8 to 11. 11.0.
Yeah, no.
Council.
Sorry, that's on me, I changed.
Cheated this meeting one.
Good job. There is nothing to add at this time, thank you.
Great. Anybody have any other information they wanna share? Okay.
Happy holidays.
The next meeting is January 10th, 2024, and right here, and make a motion we adjourn, do I have a second? Second. Who was that? I was looking over at Mr. Beckett. All in favor?
Aye.
Unless you wanna stay here the rest of the day.